Record. Okay, it's ready whenever you are.
All right. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to this edition of the GASOCast. Blue, I almost said, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this edition of the Active Bad broadcast. But this is the GASOCast. Me and Blue today, we took the trip down to San Antonio this past weekend for Showtime in San Antonio. It's our home city. Two proud Judson alums, and even more proud of the city right now and the state of the city. Before we get into it,
Well, wait. We got to give a shout out then to Coach Noe Cantu, who's there watching Judson. I think they're on to state already. We can pencil them in. They'll be small school 6A, I think. So,
I mean, you can pencil him in. I'm not going to play that game. Um, but before we get to everything that happened this weekend in San Antonio, a cup of hoops. You and Mass are going to go live probably right after this. So I
mhm.
mean, we're shooting this at 11:30 on Tuesday. So in about an hour, I'm sure y'all be doing that. Sponsored by Synergy. Mass's Recruiting Simplified newsletter is hotter than ever as we head into live period. The GASO Fast Break newsletter. I'll just say this: we're going to talk about some names today, but there's also names we won't be talking about that you'll see in our newsletter with our all tournament teams. Um, and moving along, we have the GASO live period this weekend. I don't think you and I have slept an ounce starting
Oh,
Friday, but we're ready
been
for the
nonstop.
yeah, we're ready
I'm,
for the
I'm
first
tired.
live period of the weekend. As always, follow us. I'm IFM Hoopers, GASO Blue. But yeah, that's just a little bit of housekeeping. Let's get into it. Showtime in San Antonio. Always love, like I said, going down to San Antonio. Blue, what stood out about the weekend?
I think how everybody competed is still, some teams can sit back and go, well, we're going to kind of save ourselves a little bit for open period. Let's just get a couple of games in here or there. We had guys in bracket play ready to go at it. There's a lot of competing out there. Everybody wanted to win, and I think that it also showed the strength that San Antonio is getting in terms of prospects. And I think you and I, we looked at each other a few times that there's those lists are building, and we're going to talk about some of those teams and some of those players that are building momentum with about 5-6 days left to go before we get to the open period.
Yeah, for me, it was the perfect live period preview, especially for those teams that are going to be in our GASO this week because they built more momentum than anything. Like you said, we would look at each other. I'm like, hey, Blue, you need to like craft something out that's you know around some of these prospects that we were seeing. Like those guys are going to be in our live period. Like we need to start putting them on those lists for college coaches that we're pumping out. So it was a great opportunity. A lot of players almost stamped that approval from us to be like, okay, yeah, you've done plenty this spring for us to like want to advocate for you to college coaches. But yeah, I think the bracket shaped up really nicely. The depth of teams and the depth of rosters. I know I put out a tweet out in that Boomman versus San Antonio Hoops Elite game to where I was like, these guys are 9 and 10 deep coming out for subs saying, I need a break. They were leaving it all on the floor, and that's what you love because there's just a lot of recruitable prospects in Texas. So yeah, moving on. Let's go names with games from our championship team. Starting off with Hard Work Boomman. They won one of the brackets. Kind of talk about what you like about them, Blue.
Well, first off, just how tough they are. I think that there's always, and Boo Man will say this, that San Antonio kids have to get tougher. And I think that since that's his mentality, these kids are right away. They go out and they take on that persona, and they are a tough team, and they want to guard you 94 feet. They have a lot of strong guards, like with good bodies. They have speed and quickness. They have shooters, probably lacking interior presence, but that's I think is that suits them well for who they are with all the guard play because they can, when you talk about Deuce Gooden and sorry, and Damian. Uh, Ramirez. I mean, these guys are veterans on the court because they're starting varsity guys on really good high school teams, and they're out there navigating and giving the ball up and taking shots, timely shots and smart shots. It's this team is just they're fun to watch because you just never Jaden Cherry. You can talk about him, but I think that his ceiling is very high.
Yeah, and when you talk about like no interior play, it was Jaden Cherry that was kind of the guy when you needed some type of interior presence. I mean, at 6'4", I have a play that I haven't posted yet, but he went baseline, dunked on the whole SA Hoops Elite team, it felt like, in a pivotal moment of the game. But the Logan Ramirez of the world, and the DJ Jordans, I mean, just so many guys that I can't wait to see them again this weekend at our Gaso Live period. But like you're right, they all as 2026s feel like super vets just because they all make huge impacts on their varsity team, and we know that area very well. Like those varsity teams aren't just cupcakes; they go out and really compete with a lot of the top teams in the state.
I'm going to add one name right here with Adrian Brooks because he had to play inside at 6'1". He plays a lot bigger and tougher than being 6'1" because he's going to lean his body onto his opponents, and he did a great job on the inside. And then DJ Jordan, what about him? Like he gave them sparks. He gave them the type of energy they needed at certain times, whether it was starting off a break and getting transition going and finishing, getting a good defensive stop. He was more active, I thought, and energetic than I've ever seen him.
Absolutely. So congrats to that hard work Boomman team. Once again, one of those teams where the momentum is going to build into our Gasso Madness team because I'm looking at what their schedule possibly might be at our live period this weekend, and it's it's hot and heavy. Texas Grind G won 2027's Next Gen Alert, Next Gen
Yeah.
Alert. I've shout out to Daniel all day. He's loved everything about this squad since they were in 7th and 8th grade. Now they're freshmen, year under their belt on the freshman scene, and they come out and win one of the Gasso brackets. Shout out to them, William Franklin, in-game dunks, um, Aiden Oliveris, just a team where you're looking at it and you're like, okay, we put them in the NBA division, and we're like, okay, we know they can compete. Now they go out and win it. So now you have that next crop of San Antonio next gen. When you're talking about how good the 25s and 26s are, you have the Texas Grind squad that's going to come in now, and they're like, hey, this 2027 class is going to be really, really good for San Antonio as well. So shout out to that Texas Grind team. And then moving on, this one was fun. Right after San Antonio Select Thunder won, they're like, this was our first, Gasso, and they come out with a win. Blue, tell me what you liked about this squad.
They shared the ball. Like there was, you saw them from game to game, whether it was Jamichael Moore or Boots Williams that we'll talk about in a second. They were going to go out there and share the ball. They kind of wanted just to beat you down a little bit. They would get out, get hot early from the perimeter. They build a lead. They were going to play some basic things that they were doing out there defensively, basic things that they were doing offensively. There was nothing just absolutely crazy that they did that just made you go, oh, just like jumping off the page. They just stuck together. They played as a team. Shout out to them because I remember after they won, they asked if they got rings. And so they just and that's the kind of energy that they had and kind of I think fun. Like they come out there and they won a gas, so they realize how to them it was an important championship game to showcase themselves. And now here we are talking about them. No rings, guys. I'm sorry, but right here, this is what makes it all worth it. Is that we noticed you and like with Boots Williams. I don't know how tall that guy is, but man, you talk about low center of gravity and trying to stop somebody that's I don't know, five. I don't even know what to call him. 5 feet, 5'1", 5'2", and you have to stop that guy, and you just can't. You can't get as low as him. You can't match that speed and quickness.
Yeah, Logan Cook and Sean Phillips were like, "Hey, this team over here, by the way, I think it was their second game. They're like, they're really fun. That Boots Williams kid, the Preston Biela kid from TMI, they're shooting it right now, and they're just a really fun team to watch." So I watched for a little bit longer, and they, snuck out a couple. I mean, these when we talk about the winning these bracket play games, um, each of these teams, if you look at the scores, it wasn't just like they cruised. You look at hard work, Boo Man. They had to go into a dogfight against FOA, and then to go beat San Antonio Hoops Elite. And the same thing for San Antonio Select Thunder. They were battle tested, and guys had to make plays all week. And I think that's why we like bracket play so much, is because you can tell your own story, and you have to really navigate. And different guys step up at different moments. And shout out to all three of these teams: Hard Work, Boo Man, Texas Grind G, and San Antonio Select Thunder for getting it done. So yeah, moving on here. Names with game lightning round. These are some players that you and I, Blue, liked throughout the course of the weekend. When we say liked, we're so spread out, just being able to run an event and watching at the same time. So when we like you, that usually means that you are consistent throughout the weekend. So go ahead and lead us off, Blue.
Sometimes it might only take us 5 or 10 seconds to figure it out.
Yeah.
And with Josiah Holman, with the ATX Future Elite team, a guy that's going to do just about anything you ask him, or he just plays instinctively. I mean, that's taking charges and scoring. Love his defense.
For me, Jaden Gillian, BTB Select, another one of those John Jay guards. Goodness, they're starting to pump him out over there. He's a gamer. They started to advance really well this weekend and played some high level games. And the way he finished, the way he shot the three, he was just one of those undeniable guys that got it done every single game. So shout out to him.
Levi Ball comes in, Mr. Consistency. Well, you're talking about a 6'6" guy that sees the floor, brings the ball up for ATX Lockdown, and he'll make decisions. And then when he makes that decision, he goes into areas where he can catch and shoot, and he'll go inside and score too. Just a tough individual player. And ATX Lockdown, we'll be talking a lot about you once we get to the newsletter.
Yeah, I was gonna say Levi Ball. Make sure you and your family and your grandparents are all subscribed to the newsletter because I got plenty to say there. Uh, for me, Alex Elliott and William Wickstall of FAA Red. Um, this FOA team's so dynamic, and we've talked about plenty of their players this year, but I haven't mentioned these two too often. They both work very well together, but that's also because I think they both go to high school together. But for a FOA team that has plenty of firepower, these two kind of keep those runs going, whether it's big time threes or slashing, finishing in traffic. I want to shout out these two because over and over again, as we continue to put FOA in high level competition, these two always stand out amongst their core of guys.
Yeah, Justin Nelson for HC Toros. You can see that there's a maturity level to him now. He's no longer this just long, lengthy guy that runs up and down the court. I mean, he's a really good passer. That's the one thing I noticed right away is that when he got into the block or he got inside that paint, he was able to make passes, whether it was a cross court pass or even just like notice that the angles were taken to get the ball to the open player was really impressive. And oh, by the way, he did hit a couple open threes. He scored over his right and left shoulder. Watch him here because he's putting it together to be a complete kind of inside out guy.
It's funny. Saturday morning, I watched Justin Nelson walk up to Lou Martinez before the game, and I don't know. We're just coming. I was at the Luke Combs concert Friday night, so I missed GASO Friday night, so I don't know what's going on. So I walk in Saturday, I'm like, oh, that's funny. Maybe Justin Nelson saying what's up to Lou Martinez, and all of a sudden Lou gets him a jersey, throws it to him. I'm like, oh, Justin Nelson along Jarius Jackson, Xavier Rendon with a Lou Martinez coach squad. Good luck. I'm excited to see that core at GASO this weekend. But for me, Tristan Garza, next level Raiders. I tweeted him and Jaden Gillian were going at it in a matchup this weekend. Just a great lead general that was picking and choosing his spots. When he decides to go downhill, he does it with the little scoop layup. I just love his game, and it helped a lot that he had some shooters knocking down shots. Luke Garrison was one of those shooters this weekend that was shooting it. So with a point guard like Tristan Garza that can get his and also find some of his top shooters, that bodes well for him. So shout out to him. Go ahead.
No, just go.
Another one, San Antonio Hoops lead. I know you want to talk about them more and more, but these two guys, Tristan White and Jackson Scholes, I don't know if it's because they were 18 and 13 that they stand out, but these two guys, I don't know if it's the sweat coming off the hair. I don't know, but it just felt like every time you looked up, they were making some type of play, whether it's attacking with their frames, shooting big time threes. One of those teams was San Antonio Hoops Elite. We can spend an hour talking about their whole roster, but I want to shout out these two because they were just those hard nosed, make play after play after play, undeniable guys.
And I think what you have to give the team credit for is that you have to sit and watch them multiple games because they're not all the same every single game. There's somebody else to talk about. I mean, we could have easily talked about Ben Wagner and how great he was, or Finley Montoya. I mean, this team is very deep with guys that college coaches are going to circle, and you have to come back because you don't want to miss out on Tristan, how hard he works, or Jackson. I mean, Jackson's hitting shots, and like you said, they're just when you see a guy sweating and diving on the floor, and it's late in the game, and they're trying to win a championship or just trying to advance. I mean, those are guys that make you go back and do those double takes. And another one that I thought that really started picking up his play was Ian Rizzo of San Antonio Pro Skills 25 Black. And maybe it's because he cut his hair. I don't know. You telling me how great he was playing. I was like, oh, I don't even see him. Oh, there he was. And I mean, he's all of a
Yeah,
sudden a little lighter on the top, and
yeah,
he's just playing differently.
but also grew a few inches. I mean, he's
Yeah,
6'2", 6'3" now. So
yeah.
the first shot of the game after the haircut, and I'm like, who is that pick and pop four-man? I'm like, oh no, that's just Ian Rizzo hitting a shot and talking crazy right away. So shout out to him. And that it was good to see that San Antonio Pro Skills team this week, and another one of those teams that a couple of their guys will be in some newsletter featuring. And then to finish off these two right here, as far as when you want to talk about prospects and what they look like, these two looked the part and played the part. KJ Williams and Isaiah Fox of Texas Hard Work Pooty. Blue, start me off.
Right. If you, when you watch them, you got to look at your roster because you have to remember which one's which because they both are very these built guards. You know, Isaiah Fox is I think is coming around to learn who he is as a player. He doesn't have to just be planted on the inside. I mean, he's a guy that's getting the ball and ripping and going to the basket. He's hard to stop because of his size and the way his body control. And say the same thing with KJ Williams. I mean, you're talking about guys that are athletic, that are built differently than some of the guards in San Antonio, in that they go out there and they just have this bully mentality, and then they put up a 15-point game or a 20-point game. They just become really hard to stop, and that gives Pooty more dynamic guards to go to out on the wings.
Yeah, probably one of and they were in a lot of high level games this weekend, and I know Pooty was ready. He was like, let me get them into practice real quick because I know we're coming up to GASO Madness this weekend with a lot to prove." That's going to be one of those teams that I'm really circling for some high level matchups, and one of those teams I'll be advocating for college coaches. Um, so, like we said, we'll have a lot more content on newsletter. I think overall, you and I's feeling is we'll be honest. Some years we've left San Antonio being like, we'll see. Um, this year I think we left San Antonio being like, oh, okay, the depth, the talent, the way they compete, the physicality. Just we feel really good about the city right now. Um, and we feel even better about Gaso Madness this weekend. Blue, before we get off GASOcast, I know you and Mass are doing your thing. Give me some thoughts going into Gaso live period this weekend.
And it's going to be flooded with prospects. Like I said, I was just like, as you were saying that, I'm looking at, I won't say specifically which teams, but I'm looking at two teams right now on the roster, and there's 11 prospects on two rosters. That's what we're bringing this weekend, is that you're going to have multiple chances to see the same team 2-3 times. You're going to be able to circle. Like I said, if you watch them, you're going to like somebody else every single time that's going to fit your program. And I think that that's kind of where we're looking towards right now, is that there's a lot of depth from one roster to the next. And I think that this is going to be a really great weekend coming up.
Yeah, I agree with that. From the prospects to the college coaches that are already signing up, there's a level for everybody. That's what I love about Gaso, is that we can cater to the D1s, we can cater to the mid-major prospects, the D2s, the D3s. There's a different type of prospect going to be at every different court this weekend, and I'm so excited for it. It's funny because it's May, so you feel like with us, we've run so many events already. We were like, oh, we've done a live period already, but no. But we've also got a chance as guys that evaluate and advocate for these players. We've gotten to see a lot of basketball, so now we go into live period knowing who's who and can speak a little more confidently on some of these prospects when we're talking to college coaches this week. Because I know you and Mass for sure. I'll be like, where are Blue? Where's Mass? And I'll see baseline over there. Y'all are sitting with the college coaches doing your thing. I'm feeding them really good information. So some of the best time of the year. This is kind of where spring ends, but it's a culmination of spring.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to get to it. I know you and I are tired, but this is we get up for live period weekend, so I don't care.
May 20th will be here. It's not going anywhere. We'll
Absolutely.
rest next Monday.
So for Gaso Blue, I'm My Film Hoopers. See y'all live period.
Okay.